Developing a typographic system. Typography plays a big part of a brand's overall feeling. Typography choices can help to support a brand's story and style. As you can see, there are small but important differences between different font choices, even among those that seem the same. Study your font choices in detail and find out if there are characteristics that seem to echo the brand's style direction better. Sometimes it could be more involved than just picking out a serif or a sans serif typeface. Sometimes you need to pick among similar sans serifs, for example. I want you to look at the differences between these 4 typefaces: Bodoni 72, Abril Fatface, Dido, Libre Baskerville. These are all serif typefaces. But if you take a look at the G, for example, you can see very small differences between the G. Let's go ahead and look at Abril and Bodoni. Abril has this really chunky, thick lines. It gives it a lot of confidence, and there's all these little tiny characteristics in it that are fun and playful. Bodoni is more traditional. It's got these nice thin closed counters on the top and the bottom of the G, and it looks really nice. There could even be differences between how the G is constructed. So for example, in Abril Fatface, you have this gap that's created between the tail on the bottom, and it's not really a closed counter. It's not completely closed. There's a little bit of a gap there. And that's the opposite is true for Dido. It has a complete closed circle at the bottom of the lowercase g. And for example, when you study the A's, you can see how the ball terminal on this type choice is really round, and the one on the other one is more kind of a teardrop look. So if you look at these little small details, it can make a big impact on the font choice that you decide to choose for your brand. You could be choosing 1, you could be choosing 2 or 3 different typefaces to use for your brand. So make sure you study each character and that you like the characteristics of all these little details and you feel like it matches the brand style. Also take a look at the T. There's a thickness to this T, and there's a thinness to the same exact lowercase t in a different typeface. You can also see different characteristics in the top of the T. This one creates a bowl shape, and this one creates kind of this really nice slope shape. So you can see total differences between these. A lot of different flares and characteristics are echoed in your type choices. By just studying the characters, you can really get a good idea of what type choice might work for you. Not only do type choices matter, there's also a psychology of typography. So along with font choices, how you display your typography can also add to the presentation of a design. Typography is an extension of your branding. So take, for instance, these wide arrangement of different typography layouts. So we have risky. So we have something that's not aligned perfectly. We have shy. It's kind of in the background. It has low contrast. We have romantic, which is playful with its lines. We have bold, which has a different orientation of its characters. It has characters that don't have to, words that don't have to exist all on the same line. So it's a little bit more unconventional. We have traditional. It's easy to read. It's a serif typeface. It has a period at the end. Everything is following all the rules. Urgency. It's thick, nice, thick lines there. And there's a sense of urgency. Calm, lowercase, approachable, some spacing, nice spacing between each character. Nostalgic. So we have typefaces that bring up memories of certain decades. So if you think about Art Deco and some of the typefaces that could bring up memories of the 20s. Tired, lowercase, wide spacing between it. It feels dated, it feels tired. There's playful, with not a lot of spacing between the characters or maybe even overlapping characters. They play with each other and they interact with each other in really interesting ways. So let's do our typographic study. So this is a good example of Montserrat used. That is the main typeface that we chose during the logo design process. So what we need to determine is how does all of this come together. If we were to have a menu and it had all the same sized typography, it would look awful. There wouldn't be a sense of type hierarchy where one thing is more important than the other. There's an order, an elegance to all of this. So we need to determine what is the exact point size that we use for the largest heading, what is the point size we use for the next heading down, the body copy, and any kind of small print. And that's what we're going to determine by doing a typographic study and going ahead and getting a typographic system set up. So when we start to do everything, there's not going to be any question to what's the size of the main headline and the next subheading, what is the ratio or difference between sizes. And after all of this is established, creating everything will be so easy because there won't be any questions on how to set up the typography in the paragraphs.